The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Books, beauty products, science, fashion, and glam talk. From Bollywood to Hollywood, it's Dr.Afshan Hashmi's radio show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on W4WN Radio, the Women for Women Network. And here's your host, international speaker, educator, award-winning entrepreneur, and best-selling author, Dr. Afshan N. Hashmi.
Hello viewers around the globe, this is Dr. Afshan Hashmi with her radio plus TV show on W4WN Radio Network and Talk 4 TV. W4WN Network is the #1 online Women for Women network in the world, and the show is syndicated worldwide, and it has more than 300 million listeners. So in today's show, I will be talking to an author, and her name is Michelle Cox. But I will invite her after the break. But before I go into the break, I want to remind you that have you bought my 2 books, The Modern Mughal Mentality, New Strategies to Succeed in India and the Global Marketplace? When this book came, there was there was lot of research going on Jugaad, and I devised Jugaad is a Hindi buzzword, and I have conceptualized it as thinking outside the box. And then this one is the outbreak of a monstrous infection. And when this book came in 2019, there was no trace of coronavirus. And in a very, very unique story, I have devised a business model. I have I have devised a unique story in this, where I have talked about bioterrorism, that how a virus can ruin the human population as COVID-19 has done. And for this book, friends, I am looking for a producer to produce it into the movie. So all those Hollywood, Bollywood, independent producers who produce movies, TV serials, Netflix, Amazon, anywhere, if you are listening, please contact me at Dr.Afshanhashmi.com. These 2 books were Amazon bestsellers, so they have been proven to be very good. And also, my first book, The Modern Mughal Mentality, was also like a hot #1 new release. And I am looking for literary agents who can pitch these books to the traditional publishers. And I would love to have a traditional publisher or literary agent contact me at Afshan@drafshanhashmi.com and talk to me about these 2 projects and what are my upcoming projects, because I am a full-time author. And if you are a full-time author, this is my career and business, and I have a company through which I work, and I am the managing member of Dr. Afshan Hashmi Consulting Group LLC. So, listeners, if any one of you, because I know there are so many of you, more because this show is syndicated to more than 300 million listeners. So please listen and contact me. And I have already got this book, The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection, evaluated by Tailflix, and you can see it on my www.afshanhashmi.com website. There is a separate page where you can see what Tailflix have given me evaluation. And Tailflix says that this book is compared to three blockbuster Hollywood movies: Outbreak, Career, and Contagion. And those all were big budget Hollywood movies. So I want a TV serial or a Netflix series or a Amazon series or a movie, whatever, it depends upon what kind of offers I get. Having said that, friends, I also do marketing for authors. So I bring traffic to your web page, to your book page, and I tell you strategies how to become a best selling author. So if you want to hire me for that or for any of the services, I can teach you those strategies or consult you, or make like a program for especially for you, that how to be a best selling author on Amazon. And so if you have any of those needs, please contact me at Afshan at drafshanhashmi.com. Having said that, friends, now I will go on a commercial break and will be back soon. And please don't go anywhere, because Michelle Cox, a famous author, will be joining us and she will be in conversation with me. And here I take my break.
Would you love exposure for your business, product, or service to over 300 million potential listeners? Send an email to info@talkformedia.com. And now let's hear from some of our sponsors.
Chapter 2: How Jugaad Leads to Multi-Sector Success Stories in India, including definitions of the Jugaad Management Principle business model. Of the book The Modern Mughal Mentality: New Strategies to Succeed in India and the Global Marketplace. Inspiration: True Jugaad is an inspiration on how to create products using technology that meet the price-value equation. According to a Harvard Business Review article featuring expert Prahlad and Mashelkar, most innovation programs are built on the assumptions of affluence and abundance. We see the rich and the young in both the developed and the developing countries demanding environmental friendly products and services. They also believe that affordability and sustainability are crucial to driving successful business today. New technologies and radical business models are important not only to penetrate mass markets in India but in the entire world. By reconfiguring all areas of the business structure, they will pull.
A monstrous infection is spreading worldwide. OMG, is this a simple infection or a deliberate attempt to ruin the human population? Or maybe it's bioterrorism. What is this global infection and who is spreading it? Help us find out. Go to Amazon and search for The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection. The human race needs your help to make this go viral. Go to Amazon.com and read The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection to find out what happens next. Go now! The world is depending on you.
And now, back to Dr.Afshan Hashmi's radio show.
And now, friends, here I welcome Michelle Cox, a famous author in Dr. Afshan Hashmi's Radio Plus TV show. Welcome, Michelle Cox, to my show. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Oh, thank you. You are welcome. So, before being in conversation with her, I would like to read a little brief bio of Michelle. So, my listeners, just listen carefully. And if you have any questions for Michelle or me, please don't hesitate to ask. Michelle Cox is the author of the multiple award winning Henrietta and Inspector Howard series, as well as novel notes of local lore, a weekly blog dedicated to Chicago's forgotten residents. She suspects she may have once lived in the 1930s and, having yet to discover a handy time machine lying around, has resorted to writing about the era as a way of getting herself back there. Coincidentally, her books have been praised by Kirkus Library Journal, Publishers Weekly, Booklist, and many others, so she might be onto something. Unbeknownst to most, Michelle holds board games she doesn't have time to play and is not surprisingly addicted to period dramas and big band music, also marmalade. So this is kind of, a very different kind of bio written. Also, Michelle, can you tell that my viewers, like, how did you become author and what was the inspiration to become an author?
Yeah, I came to writing sort of later in life. I had thought about it in high school a little bit, but to be really honest, I was afraid to be an author, and I didn't think I had what it takes to do that, and I thought it sounded too scary. So when I got to college, I decided to go into medicine instead. Because I thought that sounded easier than being a writer. But about halfway through college, I decided that I just loved literature too much. So I switched my major. But then, I graduated with an English degree and I didn't find a job in that field. I worked actually in social service. And then I got married and I became a stay-at-home mom. And it wasn't really until about 2012 that I decided that I wanted to try to write a book. So I wrote a very long, gargantuan story that never got published. And after about a year of trying to get it published or get an agent, I decided to just put that to the side and start all over with a different book. And that became the series that is out now, the Henrietta and Inspector Howard series. So, it was kind of later in life. But then once I got started, I've been able to produce a book a year. So that's pretty good.
So, can you show your books to my viewers? Do you have those?
Well, I have the latest one. So this is book 5. So this is A
Okay.
Child Lost. Yeah. So this is book 5 of the series. They take place in the 1930s in Chicago.
So, like, all those, this book is also of the same series what you are writing. So, can you little bit elaborate what is this series about? A synopsis kind of a thing.
Yeah, sure. The series, like I said, it's set in the 1930s and it's in Chicago. It's kind of the tagline would be Downton Abbey meets Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. So this is a little bit of a different type of series, mystery series, where it's not just the same stock characters in each book solving a mystery and then, it's the next book. This is kind of a saga. So it's really about these characters. I mean, there's a mystery in the background, but it's really about them developing over time. So the first book is a very young girl, Henrietta. It takes place during the Great Depression. Her father has killed himself because of the Depression, and she is the breadwinner for the family. So she starts working as a taxi dancer, which is where girls would dance with men for 10 cents a dance. This was a popular thing back in the day. And the floor matron, her boss, ends up being murdered, and then Inspector Howard comes in and tries to solve the crime, and he kind of takes advantage of her beauty and her innocence, and he has her go undercover for him to try to catch the killer. So that's kind of the setup for the first book. But then as the series goes along and they become romantically involved, he hasn't told her that he's actually the heir to this very wealthy estate north of the city. And so when she agrees to marry him, she doesn't realize that that is what she's getting into. And she thinks that she's, they're going to have this life in the city and she's going to be married to this cop, when in reality, that isn't really, the situation. So it's kind of about them kind of working that out, if they're going to, are they, aren't they type of thing. So you got a very strong romance arc going on. You have a mystery arc going on, and then you also have it, a pretty solid historical fiction. So
also it is historical and mystery, like a cozy mystery kind of a genre.
Yeah, it's not exactly cozy, because I mean, if you people do describe it as cozy, oddly, but the traditional definition of cozy is no swearing, no on-screen violence, and no sex scenes. And it does have a little bit of that. So, it's for purists, pure cozy mystery lovers, there might be a little bit offended.
I see. So what is like the inspiration behind writing these kind of stories?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of always drawn to historical fiction, and when I was first starting out in writing, I didn't really know anything, and I thought that the way to get an agent was to write a mystery. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought, well, I can write a mystery, But then when I was writing the first book, I really fell in love with these characters, and I thought, oh my gosh, I never want this book to end, so I'm going to make this into a series. But when I sat down to write that first book, I actually took as an inspiration a woman that I had met in a nursing home. So I used to work in a nursing home. Okay. And this woman had this extraordinary life in the 30s and 40s in Chicago. She was very beautiful, and she told me all about her life. And so I took a lot of that and crafted the character of Henrietta. So a lot of what happens in book one, A Girl Like You, of the series, actually really did happen. I mean, I had to create the murder and the inspector and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of that book is very true. It's based on that woman. So
I see. So these days there is a fashion, to take the book and put it into a movie or a TV series, because these kinds of books are very, very popular. Have you thought about that?
Oh, very much. Yeah, I mean, not to like brag, but I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of emails from readers who say, "Oh, this would be a great Netflix series," and when can this be on Netflix? I'm like, you tell me. So I've been trying to get a literary agent so that I can get a film agent to maybe help me. And I recently had a phone conversation with Kevin Nicholas. He works for Walper, which is, has ties with HBO. I had a consultation with him, and he sort of evaluated the series and kind of gave me his advice about, what to do next. And he validated that I was on the right track, that, you really need to be agented to do anything in Hollywood. So that's my path.
Okay, very good. So, like now you are, because you did self-publishing, right?
Well, it's hybrid. So it's a path of publishing that lies in the middle between self-publishing and traditional. So it's kind of a third way.
Can you please explain, because that is a new term which many people who are listening to you and want to be writers and authors, they don't know what hybrid is, because either they know it is self-publishing or either they know that it is traditional publishing. So what is that?
Sure, yeah. There's various hybrid publishers. I'm with She Writes Press. It's an all-women's press. So hybrid, basically, the author invests in their product. So you, not all hybrid publishers are the same, but like She Writes Press, they've become so popular that they get thousands of submissions. You don't need an agent. So they take about 4 to 7% of their submissions. So they do vet. So it's not a vanity press, but you pay an upfront fee, and that includes your cover and some editing, proofreading, uploading it onto all of the platforms, and sort of being like project manager. So the benefit, though, is that you make a bigger percentage of the royalties than you would if you were traditionally published. And the big key part of She Writes Press is that we're traditionally distributed. So we do have a sales team at Ingram, and we are in libraries and bookstores all over the country. So in some ways we are like a traditional press, but in other ways we're like self-publishing, in that you do have to put a lot of the work in, but the payoff is that hopefully you get a lot back, and you also have a lot of creative control. So it's not like with traditional publishing and you sign your name on the line and they kind of own it. She Writes Press, you're very much a partner with them because you're both trying to put the best product you can put out there. So hopefully that it kind of explains it.
Yeah, because I was thinking like what is the difference between self-publishing and hybrid publishing, and you explained it in a very nice manner, because the catch is there that if you are self-published, it's very hard to get into libraries and bookstores.
Yeah.
So not the bookstores, like of course Barnes and Noble and everywhere the book is, but not like, is your book also on the shelf on the bookstore?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it is actually in actual library shelves, and also actual bookshelves carry it. So that's exciting.
Yes, because that is what is very important, and that's what is distinguishes between like a self-publishing and hybrid. Because self-publishing, you are everywhere in the world, but to get on their shelves is very important, and some self-publishers now are doing that also with the extra fee. So do you get like marketing help also? Because marketing is a very, very, because traditional publishers usually they don't give marketing, very little they give marketing, and marketing is a big aspect of the publishing thing. So we will continue this conversation, and we will come after the break.
Great. Thanks.
Would you love exposure for your business, product, or service to over 300 million potential listeners? Send an email to info@talkformedia.com. And now let's hear from some of our sponsors.
A monstrous infection is spreading worldwide. Oh my God, is this a simple infection or a deliberate attempt to ruin the human population? Or maybe it's bioterrorism. What is this global infection and who is spreading it? Help us find out. Go to Amazon and search for The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection. The human race needs your help to make this go viral. Go to Amazon.com and read The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection to find out what happens next. Go now. The world is depending on you.
The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection, Chapter 1, 1964 to 2018, and this is the sample track, and it is read by Dr.Afshan Hashmi. In a sprawling bungalow in Potomac, Maryland, USA, lived Dr. Honey Singh, a board-certified internal medicine and family practice physician, along with his beautiful wife, Baby Singh. Baby Singh was a fashionista and was funding women's causes through her Honey Bay Foundation. She had a ladies' book club by the name of Baby's Glam and Glitzy Club, which had many glam and glitzy ladies who were professionals living in Washington, D.C., Potomac, Maryland, Virginia, and even Beverly Hills, California, as well as elites from all of America meeting at her place on the last Wednesday of every month discussing various aspects of charities they wanted her and Dr. Honey to fund. In this club, there was a wide spectrum of career women. There were doctors, lawyers, actresses, business owners, and models, to name a few. In these book club meetings, members would come prepared after reading a book of a famous woman author, and that author was even invited from any part of the world to give her presentation, followed by a Q&A in this prestigious and elite gathering.
And now, back to Dr. Afshan Hashmi's radio show.
So before going on break, I was in conversation with Michelle and I asked her a question like, how does she do marketing of her book, and does her publisher pay for marketing, or how she does it? Because marketing is a very, very important aspect, and an author has to be an entrepreneur, author-preneur. That's what we all are called. And so how do you market your books? Any ideas?
Yeah, that's a good question. She Writes Press does not provide PR or marketing, but because they are working in very close connection to Ingram, and who has a sales team on your book, they very, very, very highly encourage you. You're not forced to, but you're very highly encouraged to hire a PR firm, because to sort of get your book out there farther. And also Ingram likes to see that, because then they know that there's somebody out there helping them to sell. So they're going to put more attention on your book the more marketing you have. So for my series, I did hire a traditional PR company, and they did a lot for me. They got me placed in a lot of the trades and a lot of interviews and that sort of thing. But as time goes on, you kind of learn a lot about kind of how to do it yourself. I mean, there's still things that a PR company can do that you can't, some doors that they can open. But for the first 4 books of the series, I did hire them, but each time I was having a smaller and smaller package, and I was doing more and more of it myself. And so then by book 5, I just did all of it myself. So
Great.
Yeah.
So like PR companies are so expensive. So like a normal author who's just starting, like when I started, I still cannot afford a PR firm because it is so expensive. And I feel if you learn, because I learned everything from the scratch. So everything from the scratch. So because it is so expensive to hire, and sometimes they do a good job, sometimes they do a very, very lousy job, and this because it's in their contract that nothing is guaranteed, and they are protected that way. So how did you overcome that barrier? Because you say they were very good people, and they were doing a good job and all and everything. So how was that barrier? Because they are protected, like if they write, because they'll write 100 letters or so, and if you don't get an interview, they have in their contract that nothing is guaranteed.
I know, yeah.
And you are paying them.
Yeah. I think at the very beginning, it was a great relationship because I knew nothing. And I had no online presence. I didn't have a website. So, the learning curve was pretty steep for me at the beginning. And so there was a lot that they could help me with. And so I feel like as time went on, however, I didn't think I was getting as a big a bang for the buck. I felt like they were sort of doing the same old thing every time, and I had maybe kind of a little bit of outgrown them. So, for my next book, I will probably go with a different company, only because I'm just looking for, a different approach, maybe some fresh ideas, that sort of thing. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, the expense is huge. It's very,
You don't have to name the company, but can you please tell how much they charge, like what the
well,
companies charge?
this particular company had three different packages. So the cheapest package was $5,000.
Per month?
The Just for an overall package. So that
So
might give you
what
like
was
3 months of coverage.
okay,
And
okay.
then the next package is $10,000, and then the next package is $20,000. So, I mean, they recommend you starting to work with them like at least, 6 months ahead of your pub date, if not a year. So it's not really like a per month charge. It's more like just an overall package price.
It's a lot for those struggling authors if they don't have a job. When I started, it was my hobby, and I started. I didn't get a job. I'm a very qualified person, so I started writing. So for me to invest $5,000 for 3 months was too much. So that's why I learned everything from the scratch, and that is what the thing. Recently, I had a guest on the show, and his PR company was supposed to send me the bio, as I asked you to send me the bio, and till the last moment they did not send me the bio. So when the author came, I complained. I said, like, I mean, if they can't even send a bio, what
I
is this
know.
PR company is good for?
I
And he
know.
must be paying him thousands of dollars. So this is what
I know.
boils me. Yeah, yeah, it's very
Yeah.
frustrating. It's very frustrating. So do you have any more projects coming?
Well, I will probably start writing book 6 of the series soon.
Okay.
Um, I I put the series on hold for a little bit because I wrote two other standalone novels that don't have anything to do with the series. They're still set in the 30s in Chicago, but they're completely separate novels, different characters. And I'm trying to pitch agents with those two novels. So I'm finishing up the edits of the second one. I've been working with the developmental editor, and I'm getting ready to kind of send that one out the door. And then maybe while those are sort of brewing, I'll, turn my attention back to the series.
I see. So you have a plan, and then all these, if they turn out into a movie, then it. So how many years you have been writing?
I think I started that first book in 2012, and like the first book of the series, I submitted, I think I signed the contract with She Writes Press in December of 2014, and it
Okay.
didn't come out until April of 2016.
Okay.
So every year from 2016 on, a new book has come out. So
Very good. So because this is like you are a fast writer, it looks like, because you have written so many books. So
yeah.
like if people want to reach you, how can they reach you?
Well, you could just go to my website, michellecoxwrites.com, and you'll see all of the buttons there that you can connect with me on different, social media. Um, I highly encourage people to sign up for my newsletter because I run these big giveaways every couple of months, and only newsletter subscribers are potential winners. So, like, I'm running one right now. It's an autographed set of the books, a Fire Amazon tablet, um, like a beautiful Victorian teapot and some, goodies and a silk scarf. So I always throw like a big package together and then I give it away to one newsletter subscriber. So
So what is the criteria of like winning this prize?
all you have to do is sign up for my newsletter and you're in the running. That's
Oh,
it.
that
And
is
you can
something.
find it on my website, michellecoxwrites.com.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the newsletter
So,
sign up.
okay. So do you have anything more to say?
No, I would also I would just say, if you like reading little snippets of history, also on my website, I have my weekly blog, and I write every week a true story of one of the people that I met while I was working in the nursing home. So these are really fascinating stories about, average Chicago people. It's called Novel Notes of Local Lore, the forgotten stories of Chicago's residents. So the blog is very popular. It actually has its own little following besides the books. So there's people who follow my blog and look forward to these weekly stories who have never read my books. So I think that's kind of interesting. So they're a fast read, and it's just a nice little glimpse into real life back in those days.
So you're writing full time, right?
I do. Yeah, I write full time. And it's funny, but like you were talking about marketing, you know, I have 3 kids and they're older, but um, as soon as they leave for school or, before the virus when they used to leave for school, I write for only about an hour a day. And then I market and do marketing and like write blogs and articles and all that kind of stuff for probably 8 hours a day. That's
Yeah, that's
my
what.
yeah, I mean, that's where the real work is. So
Listeners, that is very important because just see, like 1 hour of writing and 8 hours of marketing. So, this is a very, very difficult job. But everybody is doing. But if you write, like, what is your pattern? Like, do you, as soon as they go to school, you write? Some people, I write whenever it comes to me. It comes to me. Some days are author blogs. I can't write anything. Some days are good, some days are bad.
I know I've sort of trained myself. So as soon as they leave, or it used to be as soon as they would get on the school bus, then I would sit down because that's when my brain is the most crisp, is that early morning. Um, because otherwise I would try, when I first wrote my first book, I would write or edit at any time of the day or night. And I would even, like edit in bed and at night. And I was noticing that whenever I would like edit late at night, I was never finding any mistakes.
Okay, okay.
I like, wait a minute. So yeah, I write very early in the morning, and then the rest of the day, is, devoted to other things. And
I
then when the
see.
kids come home, I turn back into a mom.
So, like, do you have author blog? I have it, and many authors have it. Do you have author blog, and what are your strategies to overcome the author blog? That
Oh,
is very important.
I'm luckily, knock on wood, I'm not somebody that suffers from writer's block. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas from the nursing home, and but I do find that one trick is taking a nightly walk for at least 30 minutes, and that sort of seems to unlock a lot of ideas for me, so that the next day then I kind of know what it is I want to write for that next day.
So,
So that helps.
like you are running, or you are just
Oh no,
walking or
just
thinking,
walking. Yes, just
walking and
walking.
thinking. Yeah, that.
Yes. So no music, no podcast, nothing. I just have to be thinking. And then if
Uh,
an idea comes to me, I, record it, and then I can use that the next day. So to me, it's really helpful.
Yeah, everybody uses different kind of
Yeah.
strategies. I have to see a movie or think and quietly think.
Oh.
Yeah, I see a movie, a Hollywood or a Bollywood movie, or listen to some music, or just sit outside, like in a lawn, in a chair, and just think, and in a fresh air, just think. So everybody has, sometimes I sit in my car, and so everybody is different.
That's true.
Everybody, yeah, as far as the thing is working for you, why not? Because many people complain that they have author blog and how to overcome that. And when you attend courses for authors, like learning author, how to write, how to do that, they tell you all this. But basically it is hard work and perseverance, that how much you can sit and write, and not get distracted. And
Yes,
yeah, an
for
author's
sure.
mind should be very, very focused away from all the worries. That's
Yeah,
what is with me.
yeah, that's what I've kind of learned that too. And that's why, I mean, I'll allow myself to just quickly check my email before I sit down to write, but I can't do any social media or anything until I get that writing done, because otherwise, yeah, I'll just go off, on a path, and then then it's really hard to get back to, the task at hand.
Okay. So once again, please tell your website, because now we have 2 minutes left.
Okay. Yes, it's michellecoxwrites.com. So I hope you will come and visit me there. Check it out. I just had the website all completely rebuilt, so it's all fancy now.
Oh,
So go michellecoxwrites.com and sign up for my newsletter to win one of my giveaways.
okay, and show your book so
Oh,
that
yeah.
they remember.
Yeah. Book 5, A Child Lost. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Michelle. It was pleasure talking to you.
Yes, thank
And
you.
I'm on my other show also, and there also I interview authors, and this has audience of mostly women and all, and that one has more Hollywood and all that kind of audience, because everyone in that one is like a celebrity who is doing yeah. So if you want, like, you can come on that show also if you like.
Thank
So
you.
it's
I'd
called
be honored.
so
Thank
it's
you.
K4HD. It's K4HD. You can go to my website
Uh-huh.
www.afshanhashmi.com, and you can see that what it is. And that is also syndicated to more than 300 million listeners. And thank you
Wonderful.
very much, and bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are welcome. So now, friends, so this was Michelle Cox, and we had a very interesting conversation. We learned a lot from each other, and that's what this author conversation is, that every author is unique in a way, like every person is unique in a way. So, those are my thoughts, and it was a wonderful interview. But still, I'm not getting comments. I don't know why you people are so quiet. Anyway, so I just wanted to go on a break, and we'll be back soon.
Would you love exposure for your business, product, or service to over 300 million potential listeners? Send an email to info@talkformedia.com. And now let's hear from some of our sponsors.
A monstrous infection is spreading worldwide. Oh my God, is this a simple infection or a deliberate attempt to ruin the human population? Or maybe it's bioterrorism. What is this global infection and who is spreading it? Help us find out. Go to Amazon and search for the outbreak of a monstrous infection. The human race needs your help to make this go viral. Go to Amazon.com and read The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection to find out what happens next. Go now. The world is depending on you.
The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection, Chapter 1, 1964 to 2018, and this is the sample track, and it is read by Dr. Afshan Hashmi. In a sprawling bungalow in Potomac, Maryland, USA, lived Dr. Honey Singh, a board-certified internal medicine and family practice physician, along with his beautiful wife, Baby Singh. Baby Singh was a fashionista and was funding women's causes through her Honey Bay Foundation. She had a ladies' book club by the name of Baby's Glam and Glitzy Club, which had many glam and glitzy ladies who were professionals living in Washington, D.C., Potomac, Maryland, Virginia, and even Beverly Hills, California, as well as elites from all of America meeting at her place on the last Wednesday of every month discussing various aspects of charities they wanted her and Dr. Honey to fund. In this club, there was a wide spectrum of career women. There were doctors, lawyers, actresses, business owners, and models, to name a few. In these book club meetings, members would come prepared after reading a book of a famous woman author, and that author was even invited from any part of the world to give her presentation, followed by a Q&A in this prestigious and elite gathering.
And now, back to Dr. Afshan Hashmi's radio show.
So I just wanted to remind you, friends, that please go and buy these two books and give me an honest review, and you can see how much hard work an author puts in to write a book. It's not an easy thing. You must be listening to Michelle Cox or any author, and you will know like how much it is hard work to write. Some authors, they outsource, who have money, they get a ghost writer, and I can also be your ghost writer. And also, I want this book to be a TV series or a movie. And if you are listening, Hollywood, Bollywood, Netflix, Amazon Prime, anybody who's listening, independent producers, please contact me. And if literary agents are listening, please go and read these two books and contact me if you want me to license the rights of these two books, because these two books are proven and they are very good, very good books. This one is science fiction towards cozy mystery, and this one is like a business book. And if you employ what I say, then you will get lot of success in your business. And that is what I have employed, thinking outside the box and common sense strategies. And that's why, that is the reason of my success. And of course, very hard work. So hard work always pays in the end. I had a very lucrative job and I lost it, and so I it was my hobby to write, and so I became a full-time author. So please help me in spreading this word of education. And also, friends, please go and buy these two books. They are in Kindle, Nook, paperback, and audiobooks. So whatever media you like, you do that, and you will know what are my how I write and what I write about. And my third book, which I have started writing, is also a mystery. Having said that, friends, I want to say cheers, and only we have 2 seconds left. And cheers, and see you tomorrow in my K4HD radio, where I'll be celebrating Valentine's Day. And also, I will be talking about Wendy Williams' documentary. And come every Wednesday and from 6 to 7, and every Thursday from 7 to 8 on K4HD on Thursday, and Wednesday on W4WN. And this show is promoted to more than 300 million listeners and syndicated worldwide. So if you want to promote your products, sponsor it. I need lot of sponsors. So sponsor the show and enjoy, and bye bye.
You have been listening to Dr.Afshan Hashmi's radio show on W4WN Radio, the Women for Women Network. Tune in live right here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Would you love exposure for your business, product, or service to over 300 million potential listeners? Send an email at info@talk4media.com. And remember, if you missed any part of this show or want to hear it again, find our featured show on iHeartRadio, where all past episodes are available on demand 24/7. See you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.